I'm just astonished that as of 2022, we will have 16 live-action Batman movies. Great Caesar's ghost. This video is sponsored by Winx DVD Ripper, a perfect tool for making backups of all your favorite DVDs and Blu-rays, so you can watch them anywhere and at any time. Although I wouldn't go recommending watching your favorite movies while having a prostate exam. Other than that though, it's pretty airtight. They regularly do special offers and giveaways, so be sure to check out the details in the description below. So you know the drill, I'm going to be ranking all 15 of these Batman films from worst to best. While it will be exclusively live action, it will not be exclusively films where Batman is like the core central character. The criteria is Batman either needs to play a major role in the film, or it needs to take place in the world of Batman. So maybe like the main characters are Batman main characters, but not necessarily Batman himself. As always, this is just my opinion, so actually no, I don't even know why I bother saying this. People are going to get mad at me in the comments regardless, so fuck it. My opinion is fact. This is a fact. These Batman films are factually in this order, and if you disagree, you're wrong. There we go. Cry harder, you little pussy bitch boy. Alright, so in 15th place, we have Suicide Squad. Nice little bit of alliteration in that title there, but I'll do you one better. Suicide Squad sucks. This is one of the absolute worst films I've ever seen in my entire life. But I guess the title is appropriate because whenever I watch it, I want to fucking kill myself. It's a film that prioritizes one-liners and hip music and just, you know, how do you do, fellow kids, over absolutely anything else, and it gives me second-hand embarrassment throughout its entire runtime. There is absolutely nothing else here. I hear that David Ayer's got a much better cut of this film, and that this version of the film is largely the product of extensive reshoots and plans changing. So yeah, I'm game to release the Ayer cut. I don't think it will ever be my ideal Suicide Squad film by any stretch, but as long as it's better than this, I would love the opportunity to make peace with this film. In 14th place, we have Justice League 2017. The result of when you take an exciting prospect from a visionary director and just let Joss Whedon come in, and once again, extensive reshoots prioritizing one-liners and the characters looking all smiley so we can all have a nice time. Because God forbid a film have any sense of emotion, be it uplifting or maybe more dark and somber, outside of just the whole, superheroes that are funny. Fortunately, unlike Suicide Squad, this one does end up being just a little bit more watchable, I feel, as it's a bit less how do you do, fellow kids. There's nothing in this quite as bad as, say, Party Foul or What a Killer App for dialogue, so yeah, I'll take this over that. But there's definitely something a bit more insidious about this one compared to Suicide Squad when you factor in everything that went on with Zack Snyder, the film's original director, and the introduction of Joss Whedon. But I've made plenty of videos on that, so check those out. Okay, so from this point, I don't actually hate any of these movies. These are all pretty good in my opinion. Like, in their own right anyway. So, in 13th place, we have Batman and Robin. Batman and Robin kind of serves as a little bit of a throwback to the psychedelic age of 1960s Batman, but it definitely lacks the self-awareness that made that work. And as well as that, as the fourth entry in this Batman series, which started with Batman 1989, yeah, it's a drastic departure and a big drop-off in quality. And yes, the script favors one-liners over anything else, although I will say, to a lesser degree than the previous two entries, which no one really talks about. Yes, the villains in this film talk almost exclusively in puns, but to be fair, there is still something a little bit more to this than Justice League 2017 and Suicide Squad, and as well as that, to be fair, this came out at a time when superhero films were still a little bit on the experimental side, even though we'd pretty much proven what works better with Batman is the darker and more serious stuff. Still, in spite of all that, this film does deliver on corny and silly action. And like, put it this way, I'm never bored watching this film. It's a rip-roaring good time. Does it work? No, but like, still, I can't hate this film. And can I just say, for a film with 3 villains, it actually balances them quite well. In 12th place, we have Birds of Prey. Now, this isn't really speaking about the quality of the movie as such, just that this one doesn't really do it for me. It's a fine film. It's entertaining enough, it's got some good action beats. There's clearly a vision with this one, but it doesn't it just doesn't mesh with me. The storyline is kind of a shameless rip-off of Deadpool 2, and you can definitely see a lot of Deadpool inspiration in this film. It's a film that willingly opts to skip over some of the most interesting stuff with Harley Quinn in favor of jumping straight to her sort of breaking free story, and they make it work, but I can't help but feel that this would all feel so much better if we actually saw that story stuff. And I'm sorry, but this film is just too much Harley Quinn. It just gets very grating for me. It's fine, but yeah, it doesn't do it for me. In 11th place, shut your fucking mouth, I know what you're gonna say, we have Joker. Another film that doesn't really do anything wrong as such. And it's like the filmmaking behind it is really good. The performances are some of the best you'll see in a comic book movie. Cinematography is nice. But when you factor in how little there is to this script, it just all feels very indulgent. Like, there's just not enough here to justify any of it. And the film just ends up feeling like a weird sob story that's trying to say something about mental health. And like, yeah, I just don't really get this one. Would I say it's overrated? No, I don't use that term overrated because I feel like that suggests that people that do love this film are wrong for doing so, that they love it too much, and that's a stupid fucking thing to say. If it clicks with you, that's great, it just doesn't click with me. Don't be mad, I'm the one that should be mad, I'm the one that's missing out. In 10th place, we have The Dark Knight Rises. One word. Plot hole. This film is fucking full of plot holes. Now, for me, plot holes are not the be-all and end-all. In fact, plot holes can serve to maintain a better pacing for a film. Like, plot holes can be welcome. But this film is just absolutely chock full of plot hole and contradiction and contrivance. It's still got good stuff in there, but it's easily the weakest of the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy. Partly for the inconsistency in its storytelling, but also I just find the pacing of this one to be quite a bit too sluggish. In 9th place, we have Batman the Movie. And this film prides itself on but one and only one thing. And that is thrilling the audience, showing them a good time. And this film does this successfully, throwing Batman and Robin through just multiple different situations where they have to survive and get out. There's no logic to it, just a grab bag of Batman villains putting Batman and Robin through the ringer repeatedly, and is self-aware enough to justify being just that. A rip-roaring good time that feels like someone from the 1960s coming up to you and just injecting sugar into your eyeballs. In 8th place, we have Batman Forever. And there's definitely kind of an uncomfortable sense of Batman trying to adapt himself to changing times, trying to adapt himself to the 1990s, and being a bit more family-friendly as well. And while it's definitely a far cry from the Tim Burton Batman films, I think Joel Schumacher did a really nice job reinventing Batman in this one. The action sequences go big, the villains are over the top, and it's a very memorable film. But also the character stuff with Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson, really good stuff, some really high stakes moments, it works really well. And rumor has it that there is a lengthier cut of this out there that Warner Brothers haven't released, and I don't know how true that is. I think it's more than likely that any unseen footage from this film by now would have been junked by Warner Brothers, but if not, then please release the Schumacher cut. I would love to see more of this one, and see more of what Joel Schumacher's vision was when it came to the Batman universe. Yeah, Batman and Robin looking like oiled up Greek gods is either gonna do it for you or it's not, but there's still definitely something to his vision that cannot be denied. In 7th place, we have Batman Begins. And this was the first live-action film to really get in deep with the character of Bruce Wayne, as well as the origins of the Batman, in a film that definitely grounds things a bit more in reality than any of its predecessors, but still maintains that gothic comic booky feel of Batman. Now, in any other film trilogy, this would surely be the best one, but there's something special about Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy. But we'll talk about that a bit more later on. In 6th place, we have Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, a film that definitely prides itself on having a much more comic booky aesthetic for Batman than any of the films before it. For starters, we've got Batman back in the grey suit, which is a thrill to see, with a look very reminiscent of Frank Miller's Batman. We've also got Batman meeting another superhero for the first time in live action. Well, if you don't count the Legends of the Superheroes. What's also interesting is that this serves as kind of a revelation and redemption story for Batman, as the film starts off with a Batman who's kind of abandoned everything it ever meant to be Batman. Anything and everything is now on the table, as Batman Batman is now willing to take a life while in battle, about to make his very first point-blank kill as well. He's about to commit premeditated murder, and that murder is Superman, after Superman proved to be a massive potential danger in Man of Steel. It's all really good stuff if you can roll with the whole thing of Batman killing now. A decision that I do disagree with, but for the sake of this film and this story, I'm happy to roll with. The problem with Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice, though, is that it is missing large pieces of information. Some of the things that Lex Luthor is doing to smear Superman's name are just, come on, who is going to believe this? There's a lot of good stuff here, but again, like The Dark Knight Rises, it's full of holes. In 5th place, we have The Dark Knight, the definitive, realistic, dark-hearted comic book movie. This film did an incredible job at reinventing Batman for the modern day. Gone is that traditionally gothic aesthetic, which still was a little left over in Batman Begins, replaced with an entirely contemporary feel. In a film that explores the philosophy of Batman and Bruce Wayne, but has it completely tested to its very limits and toyed with by the Joker, who manages to get Batman in a position where he just can't really win. And watching these two characters, these two forces, play out, the Joker an agent of chaos and Batman an agent of justice and order, it's a sight to behold and an absolute must-see movie for anyone. And it is no surprise that it is considered one of the absolute best comic book movies ever made. So the rest of this list comes down purely to preference. In 4th place, we have Batman Returns. So what if Tim Burton made a fully Tim Burtonized Batman adaptation? This is exactly that. It's much more a Tim Burton movie than it is a Batman movie, but it's one hell of a Tim Burton movie, that's for sure. No, Penguin is nothing like what he is in the comics, and Batman and Catwoman are a bit of a stretch as well. But I just think this is a phenomenal mashup. It's definitely the most stylized and in many ways over-the-top Batman movie we've ever had. Utterly theatrical to the Penguin's very dying breath. Larger-than-life performances, a heck of an atmosphere, just overall absolutely astonishing. It's one that's either going to do it for you or it's not. You're either gonna love this film because you really like what Tim Burton did back in the day, or you're not. But for me, this really works. In 3rd place, we have Batman 1989, or as it was known back then, Batman. This was the first serious live-action Batman film, and the first one to really revitalize Batman's on-screen reputation from the 60s kitsch of Adam West's Batman. And boy does it ever still work today. Like, my god, this film is fantastic. Still directed by Tim Burton, but it definitely has more of a balance between it being a Batman film and a Tim Burton film. This is still a Batman movie first and foremost, and for that I do think it is a bit of a better movie overall, as well as that it's much more well-balanced, having just one villain as well, that being Jack Nicholson's iconic version of the Joker. And it's just, we're so spoiled for good Batman content these days that it's easy to forget just how much this film did to accelerate the image of Batman through the 1990s through to today. This was very much the blueprint for everything Batman that we have nowadays. And considering its age, it still looks so good today. In 2nd place, we have Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice. What, again, you're probably thinking? Well, we're talking the Ultimate Edition, which came to the Blu-ray release. And this film basically takes everything I loved about Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice and fills in all of the issues and major plot holes that I had with it. That's not to say there aren't still a few little stretches here and there, but when there's not so many of them, it's much easier for me to overlook, and it's no longer to a distracting degree now. The additional 25 minutes goes a long way, and I think it does a much better job at exploring the characters of Batman and Superman and their conflicting ideologies prior to the big fight. So yeah, this was really just the ideal kind of bug fix for Batman v Superman, what can I say? And in 1st place, we have Zack Snyder's Justice League. Is this recency bias? Maybe, but I've watched this more times than I've watched most Batman films. I've watched this 5 times now. It's a briskly paced epic for 4 hours long, gotta be said. And no, it's not a Batman movie in your typical sense. Batman is a central character here, but we've got him in the greater team dynamic now, which was very exciting to see. But this did bring one thing I've wanted to see from a live-action Batman film since they were making live-action Batman films, well, considering I was born in 1996 anyway. In the films, particularly the modern ones, Batman is always kind of portrayed as this extremely competent, sort of angry, sort of brute character. He does some detective work, he comes in, he fucks people up, he leaves. But in the comics and cartoons, we get more of a sense of who Batman is through his kind of kinder side. Like, the thing that makes Batman the best is that he's got a lot of humanity to him, which we never really got in a live-action Batman film until this movie. And it's absolutely wonderful to see Batman's faith restored and to see him proud of his fellow heroes. To see a Batman that finally achieves a semblance of peace within himself. I think one of my favorite moments in any Batman film in live action is when Alfred asks Batman how he knows that Superman will be at Bizarrenov. And Batman just responds, faith, as he joins the League and prepares for battle. This is just such incredible character development for Batman, and I'm just so thrilled that we finally got to see this kinda more human side to Batman. So that's my ranking. Fucking cry harder. I don't really give a shit, but whatever you think, comment below and let me know how you'd rank the 15 Batman movies. While you're at it, in the description below is a link tree to many pages where you can help support this channel. God knows I need it, as YouTube sure as hell ain't paying the bills anymore. But that aside, thank you so much for watching, guys, and have a great day.